But I thought that was something I was curious about, especially as a regular edible user and cannabis user, how the transdermal patches would work for someone at your age.
But yeah, maybe if somebody has a good opinion on that, like that, let us know. But I mean, at the same time, you don't see like a huge market out there. Like there aren't that many companies that are making those transdermal patches.
Yeah, it's like Mary's Medicinal has like a stranglehold in our local market. That's the only one I feel like I can name or think of.
Yeah, so you would think if it
I
was
love
like,
aloe vera. Shout out to our friends over at Med Farm. I use their mentholatum balm.
yeah, I just wonder if if it was that I guess it's just not that popular. Other companies would be getting into that.
Yeah, and I wonder if that one and like tincture kind of go in the same hand in hand. 6 and one and half dozen in the other in terms of the efficacies of catching a fade, because it's always like 1 milligram droplets, so it's perfect for like putting on your kids' gums.
A little rum.
Yeah. But I think that covers the current events of the week. Well, recap. March Madness has started. As you're listening to this, go to @stoned_appetit on Instagram and vote on your favorite restaurants so that they stick around for another week. It's going to be kind of like a Survivor March Madness style. And then don't forget to be on the lookout for Chris and I's reviews from the cannabis judging sesh. And we will be in attendance of the Roosters event on March 31st at Temple. Obviously Chris is a big Temple suck it. And then lastly, the lookout for the raffle information. If you are interested in our dinner, all proceeds will go to a good cause. We promise you that. And the dinner is going to be fucking electric. Shout out to our friends over at Chef Merlin, and then over at Callie's Cannabis, Seed and Smith. We love you guys. Y'all are putting out fire fucking flower. And if you want to see it, you can do a tour over there too. But Chris, I think that wraps it up. I think it's time for us to go and time for Chef Zach to jump on.
All right.
Until next week, you'll have a guest after this. Yeah. Next week. We'll see y'all later.
Host, as always, it's me, Kemp, and I'm coming to y'all for a little midday sesh. There's dank food to be eaten, and I wanted to talk about it, so CB will not be joining us, but we got Katie and Annie here, so we got a good company, and we have a fucking fantastic guest, chef and restaurateur located at Lunchboxx inside Denver Central Market, right there on Larimer Street. You know it. I think it's 28th and Larimer.
27th, yeah.
20. Damn it.
Sorry.
And that voice you heard was our guest. He's an intruder, but it's not a big deal. That's Zach Spott. We're going to talk with Zach today about the new concept that's gracing the presence of the Larimer, I guess, strip, as we call it. There's a lot of chads around, but there's also a lot of dank-ass eats. So you're having to feed the masses, and we had to know all about some fried chicken. We're fired up to have a conversation with you, but before we get to our guest today, I want to give a shout-out to our sponsors. It's a little bit breezy as we enjoy this patio, but thank God I got my Seed and Smith sweatshirt on. I got it when I recently did my tour out at their location on Oakland Street. As y'all know, they're growing from seed to sale. They have 2 dispensaries, Oakland Street and one up in Louisville at 1413 Heckler Way. They call it their flagship location. No matter where you go, they have fantastic flower, fantastic swag, as well as all the hits. So if you're looking for your normal edibles, things like Ripple or, Taste Buds, they have those things for you, but at the same time, they're also putting out some fire doja. So go check them out. You can also find all of their products across the metro area. You'll hear it every week. We love the dart pen, but go to www.seedandsmith.com and you can check locations of where their products are being sold across the metro, across the state. But at the same time, if you go check out one of their locations, maybe they'll give you a hoodie because I told you to. And our second guests, we're right here in their backyard. Our second sponsors, they're right here in our backyard. They are sponsors for our food dinner as well, and they're friends of the program. That's our friends at Callie's Cannabis. They have 3 locations across the Front Range. They have the location up in North Glen. That thing does numbies because they have great products. And then they have their location that they opened on 31st and Larimer, just a stone's throw from where we are. I'd say it's about a 4-iron. But as y'all know, they have killer loyalty program, so every dollar you spend, you're getting at least $1 back, and they do those twofers all the time, so literally you can bank it and end up smoking for free all the time. And then they have the 3rd location down at Kenosha Court and 7th, where the grow is going. Charles, premier grower that came over from California, started his project up in Niawat, and now he's got that thing full-fledged and rocking down here in Denver. So check out any of the 3 Cali's locations across the Front Range and metro area. I promise you that you will not be disappointed. Also slide in our DMs if you have any questions about products or where to get them. I'll gladly point you in the best direction. Whew. See, without my co-host here, that's a mouthful. But Zach, don't worry. I'm vibing off this fried chicken, and we're stoked to have you join us today. So like I mentioned earlier, Zach Spott, Lunchboxx, located inside Denver Central Market, is our guest. Zach, how are you, brother?
Doing great, man. It's a beautiful day here in February, 60 outside. A little windy, but I can't complain, right?
I mean, it's starting to make me actually think that Al Gore was right. It's very rare that that's ever the case. But at the same time, we've had a very mild winter, so it has been a nice afternoon out here for us.
For sure, yeah.
Okay, so Zach, now that we've kind of got the pleasantries out of the way, it's time to get into the dirty work. We like to start every episode the same way. We ask our guests the same questions, and so we're going to tee it off right here. Are you a transplant or native of Colorado?
I'm a transplant.
Where are you coming from?
Houston, Texas.
Oh, shit, you're from the South as well.
I am, yeah.
Nice. What brought you out west?
So I actually went to school at CU.
Okay, you're smart.
So decided to come out for school and actually moved out to Southern California after college. And then my then girlfriend, now wife, and I decided that Denver was a good compromise. She wasn't going to move back to Houston with me, so Denver was it.
Shout out to her because she's making the right decision.
Yeah, for sure.
You'd be sweating your tits off if you're in Houston.
It is hot, for sure, yeah.
But no, that sounds like a fun little journey. So you came out to Colorado. Were you like, you know what? I was going to go to Johnson & Wales and go to culinary school, or did you go business first and just fall in love working in a kitchen? How did we find ourselves in
I guess I worked in restaurants and kitchens all throughout school. Going to CU was more of just kind of like a dream, as far as I'm concerned. It was one of the better experiences I've had in my life.
Were you like a Cordell Stewart guy, or are you saying more like it was a dream to just like get out of the South, go be able to goof troop and enjoy skiing like you had?
To go to school in Boulder, I think, is a pretty special experience, no matter how you look at it.
Yeah.
I don't know too many people that went there that was like, oh, that was a bummer of a time. But yeah, so actually I ended up going to Johnson & Wales as well. So I got
shit! Look at me.
Yeah.
I'm a fucking savant.
So I did. I got my degree in psychology, actually.
I could have called that, by the way.
Yeah.
I was going to go like art history, something like that. And he was like, yeah, I'm going to use this one.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. Psychology is the same thing.
But yeah, so and then decided to go to culinary school after coming back to Denver. So was like serving tables and doing kind of the scene in Southern California, and then really kind of wanted to commit to giving it a shot. So when we moved out here, I enrolled right in school, did like their... It's dead now, I think, the campus
Yeah,
is.
Rest in peace. I think they're turning it into some cool stuff, doing some community work with it. But yeah, rest in peace.
For sure.
Johnson & Wales.
Yeah, it's a bummer. I mean, we, as we move along this, we could probably talk about how that was a feeder for the labor pool here, and that's an added challenge to our environment. But nonetheless, did like their accelerated 1-year program, where you essentially just get to kind of like do all culinary, bang it out. And while I was doing that, I was working at the Four Seasons. So
The Edge.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, hey, that's not a bad internship / getting your feet wet.
For sure. I actually started in banquets, which I really think is like which I think is like a great way to get going. You do a lot of different cuisines. You do a bunch of different preparations, whereas like, starting cook, typically hopping on a line, you're working garde manger, you're working the same 5 dishes every day. You're not getting as much experience and exposure to like different stuff as I got in the banquet kitchen. So
yeah, every menu's different.
For sure.
You get the cheese coalition coming in one week, and you got vegans the next.
Yeah.
You got to pivot, especially in the Denver scene. Well, you mentioned that not only Johnson & Wales has kind of been like minor leaguers for y'all to pull talent from, but at the same time, it seems like the Denver scene has become that from bigger sides of the city. Like, you come from California at one point, Houston's a fucking huge market, but like New York and LA chefs are flocking to Denver these days.
That's true.
So,
for sure.
There's an incestual group, and I don't say incestual like the South. I mean, like, we share, like, one chef, a lot of people worked under insert name here, Alex Siddell at Fruition, or Justin Brunson in the Coalition. Like, there's always this like lineage of like the family trees are nestier than that of football.
Right.
So how did you start about it, like getting out of banquets and being a caterer and going into like full-fledged restaurants?
For sure. Yeah. So, I mean, honestly, my path's kind of a little unique, I guess.
Do you walk backwards?
Huh?
Nothing.
Did I? Oh, yeah. So actually I pivoted from a couple years at Four Seasons working banquets and at Edge, and then went to Olive & Finch. I've kind of always been like my path, I guess, in cooking has always been, I'm big into the fast casual. I had no real interest in working till 1, 2 o'clock in the morning.
No way. That was what got me. I mean, that's why I do the podcast instead of working the restaurant.
Right.
I love the people, but standing on your feet until 1 a.m. Friday and Saturday nights is not for me.
Totally.
Unless, I got a bag.
Ironically, then I went ahead and opened Brass Tacks years later, but nonetheless.
We're going to get into that. By the way, he used to own Brass Tacks.
But yeah, so, and that was the deal for me, is I just wanted to make simpler food for the people in a casual environment. Big on the idea of like under-promising, over-producing, or over-performing in terms of just kind of what you're delivering, or over-deliver, I guess.
You set the bar low? I do that too.
Yeah. It allows you to be successful easier, I guess, at some level. But, so spent some time there, moved up through the ranks in that organization, and ended up running the space on 17th for a couple years.
That place does have some fire to-goes. You can scoop through there and grab one of those salads or sandwiches and get on your way.
Yeah.
It's solid. It's real solid.
And it's interesting. I got in right as kind of they were getting rolling. It was like maybe a month into the opening. And then the same thing kind of happened here at Green Seed, where I was looking for a change of scenery, something different. And so...
Green Seed,
yeah.
they didn't hear that, so
it's okay. So I took on that role, made it into a fun little concept where we're doing salads, bowls, smoothies, and acai, and then the kind of things just keep rolling.
Okay, time out. I mean, obviously you're smart enough to go out of state. Again, shout out to Kip for not. But did you always call it acai?
Probably not.
Okay, cool. Because I said acai for a long time, and I still feel dumb.
Yeah.
But I just wanted to...
It's okay. I mean, it's 4 letters and 3 syllables. It's a tough one.
Okay, I see what you're doing there, and I applaud it. Thank you for fighting back.
Yeah.
Okay, so you were on this kind of healthy run. You've worked from Olive & Finch, which oftentimes is thought of as sandwiches and salads.
Yeah.
And then Green Seed.
Sure.
And then you came up with the idea... Blake Street Vault went down, you took over and created this not only Munchie Haven, but also Paloma's on Tap.
Yeah,
which
for sure.
I remember best, but you opened up Brass Tacks a couple years ago.
Yeah, so again, kind of the back end of that is that Green Seed is owned by Steve and Julia, who is also one of the owners, partners at the bar here. So Stuart, Steven, and I, and Katsumi kind of created this little group that went into Brass Tacks. So I was food guy, Stuart was bar guy, and then we all just kind of got together and came up with this banging bar.
I mean, it was a killer concept, and obviously, COVID was a cunt. A lot of people, it took the wings out from a lot of folks, including all of this central business district. So it made it very difficult to kind of navigate that. We've had guests on, for a while since the COVID pandemic, but I think you may be, one of like 5 or 10. How was it navigating, the COVID pandemic? And
it's fucking wild. I think for us with Brass, obviously it was downtown. The shutdown shut us down, obviously. It's long and narrow, right? We tried at one point to do, just food only in the very beginning, and it was just so bizarre to like have people try to like walk in and walk down that long path to the window to order food, and so we just canceled that real quick. And then there was the other issues with like, not issues, but like the marches and things downtown with like there being concerns of looting and things like that. So we were boarding up windows and then taking them down and boarding them up again. And it was just a wild run. We did take out booze. We worked with some pop-ups to bring them in for, another way to kind of like add a different value or add a different kind of unique take on the space. It was a lot of brainstorming, a lot of trying to kind of find a way to make it work, right? Yeah, and unfortunately we just couldn't get there. I think that we did so well with like the local businesses and the happy hours, and then always at night with industry. And, industry wasn't really working because a lot of places were shut down. So no one was downtown. So they weren't coming out after their shifts. And everyone was, concerned about what their future was going to look like in the industry. So they were, holding money a little tighter. No one was going out. people weren't in office, so no one was coming in for happy hour. So it was just barren.
That's a great